This is the True Believers Bible Study with Ray McCollum. Let's figure things out.
Welcome back to the True Believers Bible Study. We're entering into a few studies that may be controversial to some. I don't know for the life of me why there has to be such confusion over the issue of the Jews and who is a Jew. What constitutes the Jewish people? And the Bible is very clear on that issue and those definitions. But for some reason, in the modern American church, there has been and I think much of it has been the result of dispensational theology, which has at its root, at a very foundation, tells us that God has two peoples, that God has he has the church and he has Israel, or I should say he has Israel and he has the church, and that he deals with those two peoples in different ways, and that he has a different end time plan for those two peoples. And all of that is nonsense. All of that is false teaching. Let me assure you that God has one people foreknown to him from before the foundation of the world. They are called his elect. The Apostle Paul says they are the predestined. He says that those whom God foreknew, he called, and those he called, he justified, and those he justified, he glorified. That's in Romans 8. But the confusion is, again, the result of a poor understanding of that which was foreshadowed in the Old Testament and fulfilled in the New Testament regarding the flesh and the spirit. Now, in the previous teachings, we showed how that contrast was made even in God's first encounters with Abraham, the patriarch Abraham. He said, "In you and your seed, all the nations of the earth shall be blessed." And then Abraham says in chapter 15, how is it that, the nations will be blessed in my seed when I don't have an heir? In other words, I have no children. I have no seed on the earth. And God takes him out to the seashore and says, "Look at the sands of the seashore, and so shall your seed be." And then he says, "Look at the stars of the heaven, so shall your seed be." Now, God uses two different analogies, two different symbols for the seed of Abraham. Well, why is that? Because Abraham would have an earthly seed after the flesh, but he would have a spiritual seed after the spirit. The sands of the earth represent the multitude of his seed after the flesh. The stars in the heaven forecast or foreshadowed Abraham's seed as spiritual or heavenly. Jesus Christ, in his earthly ministry, made the differentiation in John 6:63, where he says, "It is the spirit who gives life, the flesh profits nothing." In John 3, verses 5-8, Jesus answered and said, "Assuredly," this is to Nicodemus, "I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God." Operative word in verse 6, that which is born of the flesh and that which is born of the Spirit is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Do not marvel that I say to you, you must be born again. Now, Jesus is speaking to a Jewish rabbi, a Jewish leader, a man who knew the scriptures, and he's referring to the two kinds of people that are on the earth, those born after the flesh and those born after the spirit. In John 6, he said that which is born of the flesh profits nothing. And all of this is the fulfillment, so to speak. It's the completion of the thought established when God spoke to Abraham about a spiritual seed and a fleshly seed. And Jesus is speaking to a Jew who was born after the flesh, as we all are, of course. And he says, you must be born again, because that which is born of the flesh is flesh. It doesn't matter if you're a Jew, a Gentile, a Mexican, or whatever. If you're born of the flesh, you're flesh. But if you're born of the Spirit, you are spirit. And that's why he says to this man, you must be born again. And Jesus was saying to the Jews throughout his ministry, basically, you must be born again. It doesn't matter. You have no profit from being born after the earthly seed of Abraham. I'm trying to show you that you must be born of the Spirit, that the flesh profits nothing. And so the question is, who is a Jew? And a Jew in God's eyes is not a Jew like we identify today. A Jew in God's eyes is a true believer, someone who has been born of the Spirit, someone who's been born again. Well, we'll pick it up next time, God helping us. Please like us, share us, get the word out. We need to get this teaching out to the world. God bless you. See you next time.
True Believers Bible Study is made possible by people just like you. To make a donation, please visit truebelieversbiblestudy.com.